koreanovernight.com/surgery. koreanovernight.com/surgery. How to pick the right plastic surgeon if you're going to get plastic surgery done at all. In this episode, we're going to cover how long it takes to get plastic surgery done, how long it takes to heal, how painful it is, how much it costs, what doctor to go with, and if you should get plastic surgery at all. CNN just recently named Seoul, Korea as the #1 place to get cosmetic surgery done. In fact, over 90%, by some estimates 93% of all the women in Gangnam, Seoul have had plastic surgery done. So, you know that there's a lot of experience in the doctors in the Gangnam, Seoul district. Well, here's the first thing that you need to know about plastic surgery in Korea. The laws to date are such that you don't have to have a plastic surgery degree to be a plastic surgeon. It's totally true. You can, for instance, be a heart surgeon or a foot surgeon and open a plastic surgery clinic. Now, that's the law, and native Koreans don't even know that. In fact, this is how you differentiate. There are 2 signs that you're going to see out in front of a plastic surgery clinic. It's going to say 성형외과 의원, or it's going to say 성형외과. That last 2 words, 의과, basically means clinic, and that means that the person running the place is not a certified plastic surgeon. They're simply a doctor doing plastic surgery, and they can be a doctor of anything. Imagine a foot doctor working on your nose or your eyes. Number 2 thing you need to know about plastic surgeons in Seoul is that most of them didn't study plastic surgery. They started studying something else, and they weren't either good enough, they weren't making enough money, or they just didn't like what they were doing, so they decided to go into something easier. Working on soft tissue like nose and eyelids is much easier than working on nerves, bone, and heart. Number 3 thing you need to know about plastic surgery is that you're not qualified to determine which plastic surgeon is right for you. I'm sorry. If you're not a doctor, you're not qualified to ask the right questions. You don't know how to measure a doctor's capability, capacity, expertise, and skill. In other words, it's like if you're trying to find a German teacher, right? If you're trying to find a German language teacher, it's like you're going around interviewing German teachers to determine which German teacher is going to be the best German teacher. Unless you speak German, you're not qualified to make that determination. And sure, you'll find a German language teacher that you'll love and respect and like, but are they really going to be able to do a good job teaching you German? Are they really going to be able to do a good job with your healing process and make you look natural? 4th thing you should probably know about plastic surgery is that the ones that advertise, that you can find on the streets, advertise because they have to advertise. The ones that work on celebrities, the ones that work on dignitaries, the ones that are the best, don't advertise whatsoever. You can't find them, only through referrals of someone that was already a patient or knows them personally. Why is that? Because if you advertise and you just happen to walk into a lobby, you know how bad celebrity stalking is in Korea? That's what will happen. If they advertised, they'd end up with celebrity stalkers in their lobby, and they'd be unable to do any surgery whatsoever. The best ones you'll never find without a referral. Number 5, and I think this one's important. Will plastic surgery make you happy? They just did a study. They just did a survey in Seoul, Korea about plastic surgery. Turns out that 90% of the people that got plastic surgery said they were no happier after the surgery than before. And you might think, well, that doesn't make sense. If I had a prettier nose, if I had better looking eyes or jaw or whatever it is that you're concerned about, you'd think I'd be much happier. Are you happy with how much money you have? And you'd think, well, no. Okay, if you had twice as much money, would you be happy? You say yes now. You get twice as much money, and if someone were to ask you, are you happy with the money you have? Sorry, you still want more. That's how plastic surgery is. Number 6, how much does plastic surgery cost? In short, if you have to ask that question, plastic surgery may not be the right thing for you. In other words, if you're trying to find a doctor that will meet your price book as opposed to the best doctor that you can possibly get, you're probably better off not getting it at all. Okay, so let me elaborate on that a little bit so you have an idea as to how much it can cost. For instance, you've heard that in Seoul you can get eyelid surgery done for $300, $400, $500. Well, that same surgery in America is going to cost you $1,000 to $2,000. In Switzerland, it's going to cost you the equivalent of about $2,000 to $3,000. So that means that you might be thinking, Well, so Korea is cheaper. I should come to Korea to get my surgery. No, because airfare costs $1,000 and hotels cost $300 per night. So by the time you add up airfare and hotels, you might as well have just gone to a plastic surgeon in your country that's very good. Now, on the other hand, let's say you don't, and you actually come to Korea to get your plastic surgery done for the average prices. Well, you know what? You're going to end up with average doctors. Wait, think about what that means for a second. If the average doctor has a 98% success rate, that means that out of 100 people that come through that door, 100 people, and there are about 20 or 30 people that come through the average Gangnam plastic surgeon stores. Out of 100 people, he gets 2 people that he screws up on. If he's seeing 20 customers, 20 patients a day, that means he's screwing up on 2 patients every 5 days. Every other day, just about, he's ruining someone's face. What seems like the smart thing to do? Well, whatever country you're going to get your plastic surgery done in, go for the best surgeon. That's all there is to it. And the best surgeon, for instance, in America, if an average surgeon only charges you $1,000 for eye surgery, the best surgeon is going to charge you $5,000 or $10,000 for the same surgery because he has an impeccable record. It's the same with Korea. Okay, but what if you can't afford the best plastic surgeon in Korea and you're absolutely heart set on getting plastic surgery done? Should you just go for a less expensive surgeon? Well, if that's the case, you might want to consider going to Thailand. The best plastic surgeons in Thailand are going to be much better than the average plastic surgeon in Korea, and they're going to be less than half the price. Number 7 thing you need to know about plastic surgery is that there are 3 main categories, and these aren't even medical categories. I'm not a medical doctor, but this is how they work. Soft tissue, implant-related, and bone-related surgery. Each one gets progressively more difficult and more dangerous. Soft tissue surgery can be done under local anesthesia. In other words, all they have to do is take a needle and just inject you, just like at the dentist, and they carve, they cut, they sew, just like you're getting stitches, and it's over. This applies for lips, eyes, nose. Now that is easy. Implants are the next more difficult type of plastic surgery, and they're different. With an implant, because right after surgery, there's a ton of swelling and there's a ton of blood, right? And stitches that haven't been removed at all. If you get an implant, you have to wait days, if not weeks, to see how the implant settles. So whether we're talking about a nose implant, a forehead implant, jaw, chin, cheek implant, breast implants, whatever implant we're talking about, you're not going to know, and the doctor is not going to know the success of his surgery until a couple weeks after that surgery happens. Now you might think, well, okay, so what's the big deal? The big deal is if you're not a local Korean, and if you don't live a mile, 5 miles, 10 miles away from the plastic surgeon, let's say you live in America, let's say you live in London or Indonesia, you're going to be done with your surgery, you're going to be hurting, your body's going to be throbbing and sore, and you're going to jump on an airplane and go back home. 2 weeks later, your body's going to heal, and guess what? Your nose is going to be like this, or your eye's going to be, or one of your breasts is going to be too high or too low. That's just how the body heals, it settles. No one knows how the body's going to end up with an implant until after the healing's done. So there again, another reason why you need to work with the best and most experienced plastic surgeon in Korea. Number 8 point you need to know. If you're going to go for something as serious as jaw reshaping requires complete anesthesia. You have to go under. When you're under, for any surgery, open heart surgery, it could be lung surgery, it could be brain surgery, anything where you have to go under total anesthesia, there's a chance that you might not come back. You might not wake up. If the anesthesiologist does a great job and you do wake up just fine, what ends up happening next is that the swelling in your jaw, for instance, will be so intense that you will hardly be able to breathe. It'll be very difficult to breathe for 2 to 3 days. The first day, you can't even sleep, because if you sleep, you'll end up choking on your saliva and dying. So right after the most painful surgery of your life, you will have to stay awake for 24 hours straight. What are we on? Number 9? Okay, how long does jaw reshaping surgery take to heal? How long does it take to get your cast off when you break a leg or a bone. It takes about a month or 2 or 3. That's because jaw reshaping surgery, they physically have to go in and they take a saw, literally, a real saw that just buzzes, and they cut a wedge. They do 2 cuts so that they can remove a chunk of your jaw out, and then they fuse your jaw back together and they drill screws into the 2 parts of your jaw that basically, if your jaw was like this, they cut a wedge open and then they force it together, they clamp it together, and then they put screws in between these 2 pieces of jaw. Last, number 10 thing you need to know. How much does jaw restructuring surgery cost? Well, if an average surgeon does it, and most surgeons can't, you have to have a specialist, because within the jaw there are nerves. You know how when your tooth hurts, your entire body, everything just swells, your eyes tear? That's because there are nerves in your jaw. Now those nerves that go in your jaw also control your sense of taste, your ability to speak, your ability to eat, and your ability not to drool. If anything goes wrong in any of these nerves, you're not going to be able to eat, speak, smile, or keep saliva in your mouth. That's how dangerous jaw surgery is. But if you minimize your risk and you work with the best surgeons, it'll cost you more than $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in Korea. In America and Switzerland, it'll cost you about $100,000. In Switzerland, it'll cost you about $150,000 to get that same jaw surgery. Now that you know all that, if you still want to get plastic surgery done in Korea, you're welcome to contact us, and I'll give you the number, the direct personal number of the president of the Korean Plastic Surgery Association. You'll have to contact us again through another forum, and we do that to protect his clientele and protect his identity from getting mobbed by, as we mentioned earlier, people that are just celebrity stalkers. Contact us at koreanovernight.com/insider. koreanovernight.com/insider. Contact us again, and I'll give you the next steps as to what to do to get an appointment with the head of the Korean Plastic Surgery Association. Actually, let me give you a bonus here. Let's do the 11th thing you need to know. If you don't absolutely look Korean, everybody has different physiological features. Your nerves are in different places. If you cut one of these nerves, they don't grow back. In fact, you'll lose feeling, you'll lose sensitivity, you'll lose the ability to even move muscles. You've seen people with one side of their face just hangs. That's what'll happen. So if you don't look Korean, what ends up happening is you need a doctor that has experience dealing with people that are, say, Southeast Asian, that are European, that are of African origin, that are Middle Eastern. Because as your facial features different from Koreans, where your nerves are in different places. And so if the doctor is not experienced with where your race, where your physiology has different nerves in your body, chances are they might actually cut something incorrectly, and now you're in big trouble. You can't grow it back. Contact us at koreanovernight.com/insider.